And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're receiving this information. My name is Rafael Vasquez Guzman, and I am the CEO of our nonprofit organization in Northern California, Líderes del Futuro Avanzando. Our goal here today is to do a very brief overview because many individuals who are filling out their FAFSA are having lots of difficulty, especially, and that will be our focus, when their parents are undocumented. And so I want to take just a few minutes here in the English version of this video to talk about basic things. We are getting phone calls, emails, text messages, and messages on our social media um, locations about, I'm undocumented, my child is a US citizen or resident, what can I do, right? We are submitting our application, we create an account, and then nothing happens. And so I wanted to take a moment and just briefly say, for those of you, remember in California, our deadline is March 2nd to submit the application. And for that reason, and this is important because universities need to receive those applications in order to decide how much money they are going to offer you based on your parents' income and so on and so forth. And so as a result of that, what I wanted to do here briefly is let you know that a lot of parents who are undocumented are filling out their basic information, and then it says, call this number. When they call in Spanish, the system typically just say, we're receiving too many phone calls, we're not going to be able to help you, and it just hangs up. And so we want to make sure that you're aware that if you speak English and you're an undocumented parent, that you can call the same number, choose English, and then when it gets you to the next list of items, choose number 4. And that should be the loans department. And so it says, if you have questions about loan, click that one. And when you get to that department, then says, my bad, I didn't want to get a loan, but we are having problems identifying or verifying who I am. That person typically is very kind and empathetic with you and will ask you several questions to verify who you are. Then they'll send you an email. And once they send you the email, that that person will ask you, or the system will ask you, to fill out an additional form and for you to submit a document that proves who you are and where you live. So you're going to have to send maybe receipt from, again, the water or the electric bill or something of the kind, and then a government ID. That could be your driver license, that could be your passport, so on and so forth, right? And then the idea here is that then the system will verify who you are. You'll be able to say, you'll log in again later on, and it'll say you have been verified and you can continue. But the phone calls, text messages, and everything else this morning, and I'm talking about February 17th, 2024, is we still are having trouble. We cannot log in. It doesn't let us continue. And for that reason, I decided to make this video. And what you can do is, and if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Líderes del Futuro, or some other location, maybe on our Instagram, please note, go to our description of the video, and I will put both of the links to the paper form, and I invite you to consider this. Now, the federal government tried to get rid of the paper form many, many years ago, but legally they can't, right? Because in order for equity to exist, everybody has to have access. They tend to kind of hide it because they don't want to hand type this information in their system, but their system is now intelligent enough to scan the information. So if you're gonna fill out this form, please do it in a computer rather than by hand, because your handwriting is not easily accessible to the computer systems. But if it's done by hand and then you just print it and mail it, then you'll be fine. All right. With that said, a few people have reached out and they're like, oh, they're telling me it's 20 pages, it's overwhelming. It's not overwhelming. Take the time, download the form, sit down as a family. It's going to take you about an hour, especially if this is your first time, and just read over the guide. Again, it tells you how to fill it out. how not to fill it out. If you do it on the computer, this will be done easily and automatically, and you won't have to worry. Again, they want you to do it correctly. Read all the directions correctly. And then remember, you're going to mail this package, page 7 through 20, through to this address. And that's it. So it's really, really important that you do that. And I'm going to move fast through this, but it's just about page 1 through 6 is just directions. It's basic questions that they're giving you answers to. And after that, you get to the actual application. And all they want is the first name of the student, middle name if they have that, and then their last name or last names. If you're Latino, Latina, Latinx, you likely have two last names, and you possibly have two first names. And then the birthday, because in order to submit this application, you have to be a US citizen, resident, or have a T1 visa, or have maybe asylum approved. Again, DACA recipients cannot do this. People who are adjusting status through marriage or other way and just got their Social Security but are not US citizens, residents, T1 visa holders, or have their asylum approved. Otherwise, you cannot submit this. And it could come back to hurt you later on because they can charge you with attempted fraud by trying to obtain benefits you do not qualify for. Okay, so then this person would have a Social Security number and not an ID. And other than that, again, they just want your basic information, phone number, email address. Make sure to put it twice because sometimes we make a mistake the first time, and if we don't put it here, we don't catch that mistake. It has to match. And then your home address or where you're staying, and whether or not you're single, married, and so on. If you're married, you will not have to use your parents' information. If you're single, you would have to use your parents' information, except, and this is important, except if you have a child that you legally are providing for. If you are a single parent who may be 17, 18, 19, but you live at home with your parents and your parents are paying the bills for that child and you, then you do not qualify as an independent person. Your parents likely are also claiming your child in their taxes, but that is important. If you can prove that you are taking care of that child, then you do not need to provide your parental information. And again, then it asks, are you a first year, second year, or junior or senior? If you're at a community college like Santa Rosa Junior College, Mendocino College, Napa Valley College, College of Marine, San Francisco City College, for example, you can never be beyond a second year undergraduate, right? Because in order to be a junior, you would have to be at a university. You cannot be a junior or senior at a community college. And there's nothing wrong with it. It may take you 3 years to accomplish your associate's degree. Don't worry about it. Just put that here. And then again, they're asking if you already have your bachelor's degree, if you are pursuing a degree to become a teacher. Those are the questions here. And again, there's a bunch of other questions. Take the time, review them, go over it. And this is just, again, the other only option for you to be determined not dependent of your parents is if, for example, the director of an emergency shelter can write you a letter to verify, and this has to be a shelter that receives money from the federal government, that the director says, yes, you have been independent, that your parents are not taking care of you, and that you have gone and received services from them. Or your high school counselor, if you're still in high school, can write that. Or somebody from the TRIO or GEAR Up program. Or in some situations, the financial aid administrator at your school, at your college or university can do that as well. But that is the only other one here that can qualify you for that type of thing. And again, other than that, it moves to whether or not your parents are unwilling to assist you with getting a loan. And then how many people live in the household? Here, it's important to just remember that you as the student qualify as one of the family members. So you may be living 50 miles away from home, and therefore sometimes students misunderstand this question. And so it includes you, the student. And then how many of those people at home are going to go to college? So if you're already at a university, let's say, but your brother or sister is going to graduate high school and go to the community college, that means two of you will be going. And so some of this information I'm going to skip because, again, it's just simple information, basic information. And so we're going to skip that. And again, who are you? Are you a U.S. citizen? You just put citizen, nothing else in this section. If you are a resident of the United States, a legal U.S. resident, you would put that here and your A number. If you have a T1 visa or your asylum has been approved, then it would be this one and your A number. What state do you reside in and your legal residence? When did you arrive there? It could be your birth, right? And then again, information about your parents, your high school where you graduated, and then if you got any benefits, whether it is food stamps, for example, or if you're in high school, or the year before you were in high school, if you qualify for free or reduced lunch. Okay, so basic information, then it wants your information about taxes. If you didn't file taxes, then if you had any income, then you would provide it here. If you don't have any income, if you didn't have any income in 2022, then obviously it's zeros. Okay, and then it goes to the bottom. It asks you questions about how much money do you have in savings, checking, money market. Now, this is an important question, and I will answer it this way. If I am being asked this question and I have $2,000 in my checking account, but I'm about to mail my check out for the rent, I'm not going to put 2,000. And the reason is because that money is going to be gone in 2 days for my rent. If I put that I have 2,000, the federal government will assume that that's just extra money that I have there. And again, I have other colleagues who may disagree with my view, but this is important. Because then the federal government says, oh, use your 2,000. Well, I don't have them, right? And then here is about investments in real estate. A question that came up last night in a conversation with a student was, my parents are afraid to buy a home because then for FAFSA, we're not going to qualify. No, your house doesn't get taken into consideration as an investment. It is your house. So if all you have is your house, then you don't have any other investments, then it's zero. And then businesses, right? Are your parents investing? Are you investing in this situation in businesses? Most people are not, right? And then that brings us to the school codes and the schools. So the example here is 001287, and that is for Santa Rosa Junior College in California. And don't worry about the address, right? The system will recognize the code and that should take care of it. Okay. And then you can put up to 10 colleges typically here. And if you apply, if you're a high school student or a college student transferring to universities and you apply for 15, don't worry, put the 10 priority schools for you. And then as you are being accepted or not accepted, you can log in online later and you can add or delete some of the colleges and universities. And then you're going to print it, you're going to sign here, you're going to date it, and your part is done. If you're not married, then page 13 and page 14, don't worry about it. You will include them in the application, but they're going to be blank. So nobody has to sign it. And that brings us to your parents' information. And if your parents are undocumented, again, no Social Security, no worries. Your tax identification, ITIN or ETIN, as they call it, goes here. And then it's just going to ask about, again, their address, their phone number, marital status, right? Are they single? Are they married? So on and so forth. So this is what Unión Libre means, which is unmarried, but living together, right? And so they'll ask what was their income, their filing status, basic similar information about their income and everything else. And then that person will sign and date it. And then the person's husband or wife or domestic partner goes there. And then that's it. Where it says prepare, nothing. You did it on your own. Congratulations, nothing there. You print all the pages, and even though you're not going to use this, you still have to include it. And then you're going to mail it to Federal Student Aid Programs, P.O. Box 70200, London, Kentucky, and that zip code. Put it in the mail, and you are done. The last thing I'll mention here is if you are in California and you are going to be attending a community college or are already in a community college and will continue this fall in a community college, please don't freak out about the deadline of March 2nd. Yes, the state of California needs you to submit it, but don't worry about it. Right? In California, we have a different rule where at community colleges, not universities, but at community colleges, you have additional time to do this. So please don't worry, okay? And with that, my name is Rafael Vasquez Guzman. I am the CEO of our organization, Líderes del Futuro. Avanzando in Northern California, we have multiple programs in Sonoma County, California. And again, you're welcome to visit our website, lideresdelfuturo.org. And with that, we thank you for your time. Have a wonderful day.